All right, everybody, we are back for another Ohio State test uh, review lesson. Today we are working on standard 8.EE.6. This has a lot to do with finding slope algebraically and using that to find equations of lines or find points that lie on said lines. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. Number one, create an equation for the line that passes through 2, 4, and 3, 6. So when you find slope, you want to use the slope formula. That is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We refer to this as the change in y over the change in x, or the rise over the run, or the difference in y and the difference in x, however you want to do it. So how I do this, right, is I label one of my points x1, y1, and my other point x2, y2. And that helps me keep track when I'm doing the actual slope formula so that I don't get lost. So for this first question, m equals y2. Our y2 is 6 minus y1, which is 4, over x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is 2. And that gives you 6 minus 4 is 2, over 3 minus 2 is 1, equals 2, right? And remember that when you work with linear equations, you want to work with y equals mx plus b, where m represents your slope and b represents your y-intercept. Okay, so we know that with our slope of 2, our equation is going to start with 2x. Okay? So now we need to think about what slope actually means, right? It's how you move from point to point on a graph. Okay? So if my slope is 2 over 1, that means that either if I'm going on a line, right, let's say I have a line here, my next point will be, if I have this point here, my next point will be up 2 over 1. Okay, this is up 2 over 1. Or conversely, you can go backwards and go down 2, left 1. But most of the time, you'll go up 2 over 1. Okay? So what we need to do is we need to make sure we don't have a y-intercept. Okay? So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take our point 2, 4, and we're going to move it backwards towards 0. Because a y-intercept, besides being where your line touches the y-axis, in a formula, it's where your x equals 0. Okay? So we're going to work backwards. So for every point, we're going to reduce our y by 2 and our x by 1. So reducing our x by 1 brings us to 1. Reducing our y by 2 brings us to 2. Then we keep going because we're not at x equals 0 yet. Reduce our x by 1, that's 0. Reduce your y by 2, that's 0. That's 0, 0. That means we don't have a y-intercept. So y equals 2x is just it. Okay? So let's go to our next question. Point P is located at negative 1, 5 on the coordinate plane, and point Q is located at 3, negative 3. What point lies on the line? So, negative 1, 5, that's going to be our x1, y1. 3, negative 3 will be our x2, y2. And we're going to set up our slope formula. y2 is negative 3 minus y1, which is 5, over x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is negative 1. Remember, if you're substituting in a negative number, you always want to make sure you put parentheses. That way you don't double negative and realize, fail to realize that's 2 negative signs. Put this into your calculator. Okay, negative 3 minus 5 gives us negative 8. 3 minus, parentheses, negative 1, Oh, it's because I'm not using... Gives us 4. Negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. Okay, so our slope is negative 2, or negative 2 over 1. That means anytime you go from one point to the next, you're going to go down 2 and over 1. Down 2, right 1. Your y will decrease by 2. Your x will increase by 1. So now let's figure out which of these points is on here. I'm going to erase this for a minute. So 5, 13. 5, negative 13. We're starting at 3, 3. If we go to our next point, we would decrease y by 2. That would be negative 5. Increase x by 1. That would be 4, negative 5. We're not at x equals 5 yet, so let's keep going. We're going to increase our x by 1, decrease our y by 2. 5, negative 7. That does not match 5, negative 13, so that's out. Okay? Let's work with negative 1, comma 5 now. So, again, every time we increase our x by 1, increase x by 1, we're going to decrease y by 2. So increase x by 1, negative 1 becomes 0. Decrease y by 2, 5 becomes 3. Keep going. Increase x by 1, that gives you positive 1. Decrease y by 2, that gives you positive 1. Hey, wow, look at that. We got there. 1, 1 is one of our choices, so we take it. It's C. Alrighty. Let's go to our next question. A figure is shown where triangle ABC is similar to triangle ADE. The location of point A is 1.2, comma 2.1. The line connecting points A and B and D passes through the origin. This is a very important piece of text. Passes through the origin means that 0, 0 is one of the points, which is fabulous. Okay? What is a possible ordered pair point for point D? So there's two things you have to realize. Point A is 1.2, comma 2.1. That would mean that point C, which is 4 to the right, would be 5.2, comma 2.1. Point E is past point C, which means that point E, the x value must be greater than 5.2. Doesn't matter what it is. It just has to be greater than 5.2. Now, they're nice enough that they mark our slope for us. They tell us the change in y is 7 and the change in x is 4. Okay? So we can just make an equation out of this. Y equals 7 over 4x. We have no y-intercept because we pass through the origin. So if you want to go on this line, all you have to do is start at 0, 0. And note that what this slope means is that you increase y by 7 and increase x by 4. So let's go to our next point. Increase x by 4. 0 plus 4 is 4. Increase y by 7. 0 plus 7 is 7. That is not bigger than 5.2, so we can't use that point. Let's go to our next point. Increase x by 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Increase y by 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. 8, 14. Is that bigger than 5.2? It is. So that works. 8, comma 14. You could keep going if you want to. You would have like 12, 21. You would have 16, 28. You would have 20, 35. Any of those points work, but once you find 8, 14, you might as well just stick with 8, 14. Go for the simplest answer. Yeah? Why make it complicated? Go for the simplest answer. All right. So, final question for this video. Point M is located at 10, 10 and point N is located at 1525. What point lies on MN? Now, before we even calculate a slope, I want to point out something. You will notice that we're starting at a point where X and Y are the same. Okay? And we're finishing at a point where X and Y are not the same. What that means is that it's not a slope of 1. Okay? So that means it's changing by more than 1. So you won't have any other situations where your X and Y are the same. I mean, you could figure out your slope would be x1, y1, x2, y2. You would have 25 minus 10 over 15 minus 10, which is 15 over 5, which is 3. And sure, you could go from there. 3 over 1, increase y by 3 for every increase of x by 1. And you can say, all right, we're starting with 10, 10. You increase x by 1, that's 11. Increase y by 3, that's 13. And you can say b. Or you could realize that this is not a slope of 1. So these points won't have matching x and y's because this point doesn't. So that eliminates a, c, and d immediately. And you just go with b. But again, always good to double check yourself. Okay? But you can use logic to avoid the math, right? And that's an important thing to learn. And it's one of the important parts of math is knowing when you can logic yourself out of a situation. If one point has matching x and y's and one point does not, you will not have any more points that have a matching x, y. You just won't. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back for another standard soon enough. Until then, have a great day or night, and good luck on your state test.